Welcome back to Peak Fiction time. Today I've got just a guest. I actually recorded this video already, but OBS messed it up, so I have to redo it with a different guest. But this is ElijahKai.
Hello.
And he's a Berserk fan, so I figured, yeah, why not have somebody on for kind of switch it up a little bit.
Voice actor, YouTuber, Berserk fan, all that good stuff.
Yeah. And, so, I mean, pretty much just picking up right where we left off in the last video. Basically, Guts just learned that, Griffith doesn't see him as a friend. Which, I don't know if it's that simple. I mean, that's kind of a reductive way of summarizing it. I think Griffith maybe subconsciously saw Guts as a friend, but I do think there was that outwardly he would have been like, no, he's just one of my ultimate tools.
Well, one of the things I love the most about their dynamic is how open-ended it is in terms of interpretation.
Oh yeah, like, if you want to say that Griffith had feelings for him, maybe. If you want to say Griffith just was enamored by him because he was different from everybody else. I think the ultimate reason Griffith got so attached to him is because of how useful he is. Like, in
a way, I feel.
He relies on him, like, so heavily. And Guts gets shit done. And also, Guts was the only one that didn't really put Griffith on a pedestal. He genuinely treated him like just one of the boys, one of the friends.
Like a person and not a god. I think my personal view of it is, I feel like it's sort of that Griffith doesn't even understand how he views Guts himself.
Yeah.
And if he can't understand it, then how the hell are we supposed to?
Yeah, I think it's very multifaceted and very complex. I would say, like,
absolutely,
it's one of the most complex relationships in media. I would say it's like up there with like Walter and Jesse from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of not only like Cloud and Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, but also Kira and Gilgamesh. No, wait, Kira and Kiritsugu from Fate Zero.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, for sure. I get it's definitely like, you know, I think it's what's kind of interesting this particular section of the Golden Age arc is that you get a lot of insight into Griffith's philosophy, his like views, how he views life, and
yeah,
the catalyst for that actually is Casca, because it's like you got Griffith over here, you got Guts over here, and Casca's kind of like squashed in the middle, and like. For this next part, they go to another fight against. I don't remember the villain's name, but I do know that in the dub, he is actually voiced by Eggman. And I'm just gonna call him Eggman. You know who I'm talking about. He's the doofus.
Yeah, that's Adon.
Adon, yes. Well, I'm gonna call him Eggman because it's keep up the joke. But
I don't know if you've ever seen the bloopers of him in the English dub, but they're hilarious.
Oh yeah, I've seen memes that took some of the bloopers.
You're inferior to men. We are more powerful than you. A mere woman is of no use in... Shut up!
But yeah, he's an entertaining villain. I think the Golden Age arc has like the weakest villains in the whole lineup, especially like
I think so.
You compare it to the villains you get later, that are like sick as fuck. Like it's not a fair comparison, but I think they do their job for the most part to show how ruthless Griffith is. And this particular villain, he's like my favorite one in the Golden Age arc because he's like a goober. Like he's kind of pathetic. And I
guess my favorite one. Sorry to interrupt. I guess my favorite one introduced in Golden Age would be Zod.
That's actually, yeah, well, he's more like a chaotic neutral.
Yeah, he's not even really a villain, just an antagonist.
Yeah, he's kind of like, he reminds me a lot of Battle Beast, actually, from Invincible.
Yeah.
I get kind of the same vibes there.
Yeah, it's sort of the guy who just loves combat,
He's
sort of a
he's he's got
Kenpachi
that he's
type
got that
character.
Viking mindset, that Thorkel mindset of like, no, I need fights. I must have a worthy
Yeah,
challenger, and it's a fun trope. I like
his
that trope a lot.
his introduction also is just incredible.
He also plays a great role in this section, but kind of back to the Eggman Adon motherfucker. He it's another fight with him and his men, and he has this habit of taking L's but never dying. And he fights Casca, and Casca is a little bit under the weather. And like we have this like scene that she like grabs her stomach and she's like, "Oh my god, not now."
Uh, yeah,
And this was like an interesting direction I really didn't expect at all in Berserk, and it's also kind of the reason why I find it slightly disingenuous that people, because I do get people's problems with Berserk, but I find it disingenuous that people call it a misogynistic manga, because I think they kind of ignore things like this. But
yeah. I'm definitely of the opinion that Berserk is not misogynistic. In
I,
fact, I think it's the opposite. I think
I
it's very sympathetic towards the female perspective.
yeah, but I
It's
also do
just
get
that,
that like it can take it a little bit too far sometimes, and that can make people uncomfortable. Um,
yeah, I mean, I get why it makes people uncomfortable. It's not supposed to make you feel comfortable, but
yeah,
I think there's a difference between you personally feeling uncomfortable and saying that the story is
it's
portraying this
well, I think
sensitive
specifically
subject
what
matter in a
I,
disgusting way.
I think specifically what people say is that it like it desensitizes people to it. But I think actually, if anything, Berserk does this because it wants to shed a light into like it wants you to look at this. It's kind of like the Mozgus like do not avert your gaze type thing, where it's like,
Yeah,
and sometimes there I'll even admit, because even Miura himself admitted there are points where I'm like, okay, we don't we don't need this, particularly in like the Lost
oh
Children
yeah,
arc where it takes it a bit too far, like Jesus. But
yeah. Some of the stuff with Ganishka was pretty
it was
uh,
pretty heinous.
disturbing.
Well, by that
Yeah,
point, I was getting kind of fatigued of the gore, and I was like, Jesus, it's like I'm reading like Guro. But
yeah.
I think with
Doesn't
Casca,
bother me. I doesn't bother me. I love that stuff, but
well, it doesn't bother me, but it was like a mildly like, come on, like it's not that shocking
yeah,
anymore.
you kind of just get used to it by a certain point.
But yeah, like with Casca in particular, like I think she's one of the most well written women in fiction. I do think she got done a little dirty, and I'm a bit worried about the direction they're taking her character in the newer chapters, but I don't want to really get into that because it's kind of a spoiler for people who aren't caught up. But I think like the way she's handled in the Golden Age arc is some of the best writing I have ever seen. It was why I got so obsessed with Berserk in the first place.
Yeah, I think Casca in general is one of the most well-written characters, not only in Berserk but just in fiction.
Like
I
and
feel like I feel like with the magnanimous forces of Guts and Griffith, she is sort of one of the more humanizing elements in the story.
yeah.
Uh, Not that Guts and Griffith don't have human traits, it's just that they're sort of seen as larger than life
Yeah.
by, everybody in the universe.
Yeah, I mean, like Guts is like this big terrifying force. That's what he kind of plays, especially after the Golden Age. And
Yeah.
then like Griffith is like this. He practically becomes a god. He's like a fucking angel of light that everybody just thinks is so amazing.
He's a true antichrist.
Yeah, and Casca. I mean, for the most part, Casca is just dealt a shit hand like at every given opportunity, and even
Yeah.
when like it's almost like she it's like what they establish here specifically is that so it's like she has to work extra hard to get half of the respect of her peers,
Yeah.
like just by virtue of being a woman she has to put in extra work and she still will not be held on the same level as Griffith or even Guts. And I think that's partly...
that's sadly the state of the world, at least at that point.
Well, yeah. But it's this little part here. It's like up until this point, Casca has felt nothing but jealousy towards Guts, and I'm sure some people might see her as slightly annoying early on because of how just she doesn't like how much he doesn't abide by the same rules that they do, and Griffith favors him highly, but she also doesn't really seem to understand him as well as she thinks she does. Like, she has always seen him as like, oh, you're just a lone wolf, you're off just doing your own thing, and you don't put any thought into what you do, you have no passion for what you do. That's really not true. Guts cares about his men, and he, like, so much so that he was willing to take on Zod the Immortal for his men. But she doesn't see that.
I feel like Casca, at least at the beginning, is sort of projecting her past trauma with men onto Guts, and not really seeing that he's a victim of that same trauma as well.
Yeah.
You know, by that point, at least. Well, no. He's always a victim of that trauma.
But yeah.
But he's sort of someone that she needed to see more sides of in order to realize that they had more in common than she thought initially.
Yeah, and that's where this kind of starts, basically. Is like she feels humiliated because, like, she's not feeling well, and then she passes out, and he has to, like, grab her, but he gets shot, so they both fall off the cliff. So he has to, like, and I think it starts, like, raining, so he has to, like, strip her and then, like, take her into a cave and hold her close for body warmth, which is a fitting scene because it's kind of like he's returning the favor, because she did that for him against her will.
Yeah.
When he lost the battle with Griffith. And so...
Yeah, it's sort of a reverse situation.
Yeah, and of course she's not happy about this because she feels deeply ashamed and humiliated. One, because she got defeated. I assume two, because she's naked.
Yeah.
And so this kind of leads to, like, a rift between them, at least at first, where Guts is like, he's not understanding why she's so aggressive towards him. And this is, like, I think the first time she ever really opens up to anybody about what she's got going on. And she just unloads on him, just gives him the whole picture of, like, how fucked up her childhood was, why she loves Griffith so much. And I really like this whole backstory here. In the 90s anime, I thought it was interesting. Anytime it was in flashback mode, it would change the colors. They looked more like a...
Yeah, I always loved that.
Like a gorgeous, like, watercolor aesthetic, which I really appreciate. It looks... the anime, honestly, even though it's animated horribly, looks gorgeous. Like, the aesthetic of it is gorgeous, I think.
Yeah, the background art is phenomenal.
It definitely does justice to the detailed art style of the manga. But
soundtrack's incredible, too.
Yeah, we see that basically, like, at first we think Casca and Guts are polar opposites, because Casca's more about, oh, I have a code I live by and this and that, and Guts is more of like a lone wolf off doing his own thing. But I think what I love is that they basically realize they're a little bit more similar than they thought they were. Because we learn that she was bought out from a poor family by this creepy man, and, I mean, it's medieval times. What reason would a rich man have to buy a little girl other than...
That isn't a fucked up reason.
other than to be a creep. And what's kind of interesting here is it's like, you get insight on Casca's character, but on Griffith's character too, because it shows how she met him. She was just a little girl, and he was just a teenager, and he sees this happening and cuts the guy's cheek, and, like, then he throws the sword down, And I think it's interesting he didn't hand the sword to Casca. I think it's clear he did intend to quote unquote save Casca, but I think he didn't want to, maybe he didn't feel it was like his job to or something. He wanted to kind of allow her to do it almost.
I think Griffith in general is somebody who is very focused on people's individual wills.
Yeah.
Like it was not something it was something that he didn't mind obviously helping. It was something that he knew that Casca needed to see through on her own terms.
Yeah.
And also something that I find interesting is just the general recontextualization of this after we know what Griffith becomes. Because this scene initially is very, like, positive. You know, like Griffith saving her. But it also kind of has a sinister dark side to it, which is, like, the fact that Griffith sort of preys upon people that are in need.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's different from how he recruited Guts. He demand like with Guts, it was like I always make the joke it's like the booty warrior from Boondock.
Yeah.
And then we could do this the easy way or we could do it the hard way. And I love that moment too because it's literally Guts is just like directly asks him like, "Are you gay?" And he does not deny it. He doesn't like answer the question.
Yeah,
he just completely deflects.
He doesn't even answer.
But
wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, he played Splash Fight with him while he was naked. I feel like it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
But
it's definitely supposed to be. There's definitely a little subtext there.
But with Casca, he did not ask for her to join him necessarily. He threw the sword down, and honestly, either one of them could have grabbed it. They both reached for it. She just happened to be the one to grab it first. So it was almost like...
Exactly.
And we know that he didn't... We know he was kind of on her side because he cut the guy's cheek, but it's like... When you think about what he does later, what he does to her later, and what he turns into later... I don't know. It's like a weird sort of observational thing where he just threw it in to see what would happen, almost. Like he's...
Yeah, to me, it seemed like he was trying to even the scales a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he obviously saw that she's a defenseless little girl being preyed upon by a all-strong man.
Yeah. And
you know,
what's interesting
there's obviously a power imbalance.
Yeah. And I think that is also core to Griffith because we later learn, as she grows up, that they introduce the Mr. Pedo Man, the medieval Epstein.
Oh Jesus!
The king guy that has the femboy harem. I don't remember his name, and I frankly don't care because he serves one purpose, which is just to be a creepy bad man.
Yeah, he's a good structural character.
Yeah, and they start like I think making deals with him or something, and she finds out that Griffith actually fucked him for money.
Yeah.
And so she's not real happy about that, but the reason he did it is because they need funds, and he recently on a battlefield saw this little boy that died and had like a little toy soldier in his hands. He wanted to be a soldier. And Griffith can't take that. And it's like one of the few times you see Griffith actually being kind of, what's the word? Like vulnerable.
Yeah.
He's like cut, like he's literally scratching his arms, drawing blood with his fingernails, thinking about it because he, and actually they maintain this. It's an interesting detail that they like keep this up throughout the whole manga, even in the newer chapters. We see that Griffith kind of has a soft spot for children, and more specifically, one thing Griffith doesn't like is when innocent people are taken advantage of, but it's like it's also kind of an inconsistent philosophy because
yeah, it's definitely inconsistent.
because you'll see like when Guts killed Adonis and Julius, I think.
Yeah, Julius.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
He killed that.
It was the son of that count.
He smiles, and I think the reason
Yeah.
for that is because it's a different context. He can't stand to see someone like Casca taken advantage of when she's a little girl, but when he sees, like when that kid has the potential to grow up and become an enemy of his, in that case, it's like he won basically. He only looked at that as Guts took out two of my enemies. One of them wanted me dead, and the other one is gonna want me dead eventually.
Yeah, Griffith's thinking is very focused on utility in general.
Yeah, and so, but that attachment, that like soft spot for children, because it's like, this isn't much of a spoiler, but like later on in the manga, I think I remember once he kind of builds a name for himself, he suggests putting funding into better orphanages, and like everybody else is like, that's why, like that's, and it's again because he has that soft spot for innocent children with no home, with nothing to show for.
Probably partially because he was an orphan himself.
And I think again with the kid that Guts killed, that kid was in a privileged family. His situation was not good. It was, you know, his father was very hard on him, pushing him to be a warrior. But that's not really what Griffith focuses on. I think the class element definitely plays a part in it, for sure.
Probably, yeah. That isn't really something I've thought about, but...
Well, I mean, like, because...
that is probably an element.
Literally, the Golden Age arc, I think, opens up with a scene of Guts and Griffith, and they're, like, on a battlefield of, like, dead soldiers. And Griffith talks to him about class, and how he wants to rise above this notion of class. He wants to prove that, you know, even though he came of like lowly birth or whatever, he can be a king. He can have his own kingdom.
Yeah.
And so when Casca opens up to Guts about this, I think it's like a moment where Guts gets clarity, and he kind of sees Casca and realizes like she just like me for real, with his experiences with Gambino and with Donovan from his childhood.
Yeah, in a way.
And so I think that's another thing is like with the man that bought Casca and did what he did, like it's also important to it's partly why it's important that Casca is a woman, because if it were a boy, I mean, I think it's implied pretty easily that a boy could just like kick him and run. But she's she is a helpless little girl. She can't do anything. And that's sort of an issue that she faces several times as a woman throughout this, is that she doesn't have control over her own life, and she's fighting for control over her own life.
Yeah, in a world with no control, as the intro says in the 97 anime.
Yeah. So from here, it's like they kind of they end up leaving because the men, Eggman's men, are still searching for them, and they end up having to leave and get all their shit together. And Guts very bluntly is like, you know, he has like this line where he's like, they're not going to care that you're a woman. And he thinks about it for a second. He's like, actually, they might be happier about that.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Their dynamic is entertaining, though, because it's like, there's literally a point where she's like, you don't understand what I'm going through. And he's like, of course not. I'm a guy.
Yeah. It's weird but there are, like, moments of humor during Berserk that I actually do appreciate. Like, lines like that.
Well, it's also like, even though some of the things that Guts says could come off as a misogynistic way, I think he's actually very supportive towards her. Because when he's, like, checking her wound, like, he gets more clarity than most other men. Most other men don't really understand. A lot of the men in the Berserk universe probably don't even know what a period is. But
probably.
He understood, like, fast. Like, as soon as he saw the blood, he got worried that she was wounded, and then he saw it and realized, like, oh, shit. Must be hard being a woman.
Yeah, he put it together pretty quickly.
Which shows you, one, like, Guts is a lot smarter than he looks, but two, he's a very empathetic person, and I think it's a great moment of growth for both of them, especially for their relationship.
Yeah.
This was basically the catalyst that leads into the 100-man battle, and once they hunt them down, like, it's just awesome. I think it's actually better than, I don't know how familiar are you with Vagabond?
Yeah, I recently finished it like a couple months ago.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is a bad take. I think it is better than the 70 men that he takes on. Not to discredit that, because that is a great moment in Vagabond.
Yeah.
I just think this was a little bit better. And it's not because it's more men.
I'd
I
have
think
to
it's
think
just
about it.
it's just like a hype ass moment.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that, but they are very similar moments. Not necessarily in terms of what they say about each character, but
Yeah.
just in terms of the spectacle and the just the way it's presented.
Well, in the context of Guts, it kind of shows you, like, he for the first thing we learn is that, like, Eggman introduces his brother Eggman. Not gonna say it, but
Yeah, not gonna say it.
but he
But I
comes
knew
in.
what you were thinking.
He comes in with a mace, and he's ready to fight Guts, and he keeps swinging this big, heavy ass mace at him, and he blocks it with his big sword. And Eggman, I like naively is like, oh, he's blocking it because he doesn't think he can dodge it. But Casca knows he's not dodging it because it would hit Casca. Like, he's blocking it for her,
Right.
which completely shocks her, because again, we know that she thought he was just a shallow, like, oh, I don't care about what I do, I just swing my sword. But once again, he's doing what he's been doing this whole time. He's protecting a member of the Band of the Hawk, and and I think it's great because it's like, one, we know that Guts is a survivor. That's why he has such a clear head through all of this. He's able to make the best out of a tough situation.
Yeah.
And keep calm in crazy moments. But it's like, this 100-man battle thing also kind of shows just how cracked he is. And like,
Yeah, well, it's sort of interesting what you pointed out about Guts. Like, I don't really think he's a sexist, at least not in the traditional sense.
yeah,
Because if anything, I think he treats Casca as an equal. Like, he protects her as he would any other man in the Band of the Hawk.
yeah.
So, really, I think that's what she was looking for. Somebody to treat her as an equal for a change.
Though she doesn't realize
And
it at
that's
the
sort
time.
of where, yeah, and that's sort of where the seed is planted for what they eventually become together.
Probably the best written, like, relationship, romantic relationship in, like, anything I've seen. Like, it's
one of them for sure.
it is very good. It's very much up there.
There are a couple that I can think of that are on par, but that is definitely up there.
And I think what's kind of adorable is that from this point forward, she never really seems like, she doesn't seem to understand what's going on, but she does get attached to him. Like, and it's like to the point where whenever she's like stressed out at social events, she goes to him because she's comfortable around him. Because he's someone she can let her guard down around, she can talk to.
It's a subconscious longing.
Sort of partway through the 100-man battle, as Guts is like pushing himself to his limits. I think it's funny how all the men are like starting to get scared of him. So Eggman's like, "Yeah, well, I'll triple the reward and give you a promotion." And then they're like, "Well, that sounds pretty good." And so all logic goes out the window. I'm not sacrificing my life for that, dude. Like, he already like chopped down like 50 men. It's literally like the gorilla versus 100 men meme, where it's like you're the
Yeah.
you're the 100th man, and then the gorilla's like getting up, and it's like playing "You Say Run" for My Hero or something.
This is what capitalism does to people.
But it's just very entertaining. It's a hype moment. And Casca, she runs off. She gets caught by 3 men. They try to. It's a berserk scene. That,
Yeah.
but she.
You know exactly what they're trying to do.
What I think I can appreciate at least is that she defends herself. She gets out of there like by herself, which
Yeah, I love that.
Not the first time that's gonna
every scene.
happen, but she like shoves a tree branch into the guy's eye. Like Jesus.
Love it.
Then she reunites with the Band of the Hawk, and then they go to see how Guts is doing, and it's like it's a big moment of growth because like she sees that Guts is collapsed. He's like leaning up against a tree, and she thinks he's dead. So she starts like crying and like begging him to wake up, and he's like, "Stop shaking me! Like I'm tired. Stop." And it turns out he was okay.
Yeah, I love that scene.
Yeah, I just think like it's a high moment, and it's about the point I started to get attached to this Band of the Hawk. I started to kind of see like this is my crew.
Yeah, something that Golden Age Berserk nails better than any other arc is little slice of life moments that really get you attached to the characters.
Yeah, and all of them are just so fun. You know, you got Corcus. He's like a smug hater. I love Corcus. A lot of people don't like Corcus. I love him. He's like so.
He's
funny.
a lot of fun.
He's hilarious. And then you got Ricker.
He is a lot of fun, and I love the way his character concludes.
And like you got well, I don't love that for him, but I agree.
Yeah,
it's a fitting way to close out his character. It's not good for him. Like
yeah, it's a great conclusion, just not for him.
But I like the Gentle Giant, Pippin, and I think another thing I appreciate is that even the ones that don't get a lot of screen time, like Rickert, are then expanded on later.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, Judo, my goat, my boy.
Yeah, Judo is one of my favorite secondary characters in Berserk. Maybe even in manga in general. He doesn't have a lot, but he's just fantastic.
So you got like this scene where, I mean, they're celebrating and, you know, things are going great. They're like, yeah, we did it. And Guts is a goat. He killed 100 men. But Guts isn't at the camp below. He's up on a hill overlooking it, leaned up against a tree like he always is. Ara farming off in the distance. And Casca goes to speak with him. Or, well, before that, she gets confronted by Judo. Judo gives her this fairy dust, which he got from a familiar character from another arc.
Right.
Which I'm kind of sad the anime left out. But
yeah, thankfully he's in the movie trilogy.
Yeah, very briefly, but yeah. I have kind of this whole thing about Puck. I think Puck is a little underrated, but I also think the manga doesn't really do him much justice once it reaches a certain point. But I think he's a very underrated character, for sure.
I don't really have any strong feelings on Puck either way. I think he's a very functional character. I don't love him. I don't hate him.
Yeah, that's fair.
He does what he does.
I think he kind of peaks at about the Conviction arc, which is when he's like, I think, the first person that Guts really relies on after the Golden Age arc. But
yeah,
after that, he is sort of just put on the back burner to just fill his one role, which is the comic relief.
Which is okay.
It's good to have comic relief characters. And I appreciate when they have some depth, even if it's not much.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of my favorite characters are comic relief characters. I just I don't know. There's not really, excuse me, a lot to grab onto when it comes to Puck's character for me personally. But I
That's
love what he does for other characters.
yeah, he's very much a reflective character.
Yeah, sort of a mirror.
Judo is a wingman. He's a chill dude. Cause
We love that.
I think what I appreciate about Judo is like I guess I won't talk about the feelings he has until the next podcast, just because kind of slight spoiler. Yeah. They never really imply it up until that point, but he is just the type who likes to lift other people up.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of the few who catches on really early that even though Casca likes Griffith, she and Guts have like really good chemistry, and he's one of the few that like he saw that before anybody else did.
Yeah. He's seen the shifting of the tides.
Yeah. And I appreciate Judo because it's like there's this really nice scene. He gives her the ointment, and then he like says like, Griffith really cares for y'all. Like he demanded that a search party, look for you guys, which is a shock to Casca because it's like up until this point we've kind of established Griffith only really seems to treat her like a tool. Like he literally tells her it's a woman's duty to lie naked with a man when he's injured. So
Jesus.
Yeah. It's definitely, so it's like a nice moment for Casca. But it's also knowing how Judo feels a bit tragic that he's like,
yeah,
you can very much tell he just wants her to be happy, and he's not really thinking about his own happiness or anything like that. And I love how he even admits he got a little jealous that Griffith held them so highly.
Yeah, well, when you have feelings that strong, that type of person, you don't even care if you end up with them. You just want to see them happy.
Yeah.
And that's a very relatable, very powerful thing that I don't think a lot of stories do well, but Judo is...
And it's super subtle. It's
that.
like...
He's done well. Super well.
Super subtle, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So she goes with Guts, and then they talk a little bit. And this becomes one of the biggest and most important scenes in all of Berserk. It is still relevant to this very, like, the newer chapters coming out now. Which you'll notice, like, throughout Berserk, there's, like, this symbol of fire, and how it symbolizes dreams, and how different characters have a different relationship with fire. Farnese and Serpico, for example. Shierke, for example. Fire means something different to all of them, but it plays a big part in their lives in one way or another. And so Guts kind of likens all the bonfires below to a bonfire of dreams. It's like it's all culminating. Well, Casca's the one that says it, and Guts is kind of like taken aback by it. He kind of makes fun of her for it, where he's like, well, you sound like the princess. And
yeah, but you can tell it definitely hit him.
Yeah. I think it's... In the manga, this scene is... When he says that, it's like drawn all goofy. Like a cute little funny moment. So it's kind of like a passing comment to him where he's like kind of teasing her a little bit. But then later we see it from Casca's perspective, and it's much more detailed and much more like beautifully drawn. So it shows that while she may not realize it now, that meant a lot to her in that moment.
Yeah. Well, that's actually one of the few scenes that I prefer in the anime to the manga. Specifically for the music use and the way the shots of Guts and Casca standing by the tree are just fantastically drawn.
Yeah. It's a very intimate, very like just beautiful moment. And I absolutely adore it. I wrote down, I think in high school, we had to do like a quote thing, write down our favorite quote for the yearbook, and I wrote down the Bonfire of Dreams quote.
Yeah. It's one of those scenes in Berserk that I think about a lot.
And unfortunately, the sad part about this is that while this is one of the most meaningful memories that Guts has, and one of the most meaningful scenes for both their growth, their relationship, and it's partly the reason why we're so upset about what Griffith does and why the Band of the Hawk means so much to us. Uh, it's
Yeah.
also the moment where Guts kind of reveals, "I am done. I kind of want to leave," because
Yeah.
that's what she gathers from that conversation is like, "Oh, you're wanting to leave."
Yeah, even if he doesn't fully know it himself, even if he's lying to himself about it, he wants to leave.
And so from this point, clear up to really where we're going to end the podcast. It's like a catalyst, like a domino effect of just like thing after thing. I think that's what I appreciate about Berserk storytelling, especially in the Golden Age arc, is how it just is so natural with its pacing.
Yeah, well, a lot of the thematics in the story are tied around causality and timing and legacy and stuff like that. So it feels very fitting that the pacing is just, in my opinion, pitch perfect. I don't have a single issue with Berserk's pacing.
Yeah, maybe there's like one or two points across Berserk where it meanders just a slight bit, and I'm like, okay, we can skip this. Particularly in the
It's
Golden
very
Age
rare.
arc. Particularly in the Golden Age arc, I think the whole Wild section is a bit, but
It goes on a little too long.
yeah. Same for a lot of people talk about how the boat arc later on. I don't really agree. I don't think it lasts that long, and it felt like a nice little cool down moment after such an intense battle. Uh,
Yeah, I think that's just complaining.
well, it's just how long it took to come out, which if I can't imagine being caught up during that whole era. I got caught up around
Yeah, well,
like late Fantasia.
that's That's honestly why I don't like to read a lot of these types of stories weekly or monthly.
Oh god,
Because I
yeah,
feel
that's
like I would just lose my mind depending on the story.
like two or
Like I
three,
recently I
two or
recently got sort of caught up with One Piece and I can't like I'm waiting for the next arc to end before I
yeah.
even start reading it again.
Yeah, that's why. Like, I feel like the newer chapters of Vinland Saga are some of the best ones to come out, and yet I'm not feeling them because I have been reading it as it comes out, and so
Yeah, that's definitely me with
moments that are supposed to hit hard are not hitting hard enough because I haven't had the time to go back and give myself a refresher.
Yeah, that's definitely me with Chainsaw Man Part 2 right now. I feel like that's something I'm going to enjoy more when I
Even binge
read the
reading
whole
Chainsaw
thing.
Man, I got confused a lot. Like I had to go back a few pages and be like, okay, hang on, what?
Yeah,
So
it's definitely a shift.
so yeah, I'm definitely just gonna wait till Chainsaw Man ends and just reread the whole thing.
Probably, yeah. That's probably a good move.
But back to Berserk. So that bonfire dreams scene, and then this cute little moment where they see Griffith, and then Casca uh, is like she doesn't know what to say, so Guts slaps her ass and then just pushes her into Griffith. And then some cute slice of life stuff. We talked a bit about the pedo man, and he's actually deeply involved in the battle they're about to have, the battle for Doldry,
Yeah.
which luckily will finally conclude. Eggman, as much as I love him, he had a habit of not dying.
Yeah, he's sort of the running gag.
Yeah, but I mean, the battle for Doldry, I definitely think it is like the lowest point of the Golden Age. Well, no, second lowest because Wild I think is the lowest, but second lowest. But
Yeah.
it's still like really, really good. It's just that it's not as interesting as some of the stuff they've had up until now.
I love the way it concludes.
Yeah, it's definitely really good. Particularly, it's like when the way it kind of goes is you got Casca and a team of the Band of the Hawk. They go inside the castle while Guts is outside. Guts and Griffith are outside, and
Yeah.
Epstein goes out and he he wants to see Griffith up close because, as we know, he was intimate with Griffith one time, and he is fiending. He wants him back.
Yeah, that's... Oh, God.
He's such a gross character.
Yeah, that's kind of something that I love about Berserk, is just how gross it can be sometimes.
Yeah. He's just a sleazy, he likes little boys. There's nothing likable about him, or he's just awful. And you just really...
Actually, it sort of reminds me of the main villain of Dune, if you've ever read that.
Yeah, it does kind of remind me. Well, honestly, that guy reminded me more of the Count from the Black Swordsman arc.
Yeah, a little bit. I can see that, yeah. Or Conan.
But back to this whole situation. I mean, basically, it's pretty satisfying. It's like it's like a feel-good moment, basically, because it's everything that you want to see happens. Casca gets to kill Eggman. She chops off the top part of his head, and then she's
stabs Jeffrey Epstein to death.
I found one thing weird, which is he shoots her with a poison arrow, and then nothing really comes of that, which I found odd. But I think
it's a little weird.
I think it was a weakening poison. It wasn't really a killing poison, and I think the reason is because he's made it. He will not shut up about how badly he wants to capture her and keep her alive, and have his men rape her. He says that so many fucking times.
Yeah, it kind of becomes amusing in a sick way. It's just because it's not gonna happen because he's so pathetic.
Yeah, he's shocked that she's stronger because last time he fought her, she was a little under the weather, and it's just his disrespect for women is what gets him killed ultimately.
And it's dude, you have a body built on. You have the body of a nerd who is built on Monster Energy only. Except you're in medieval times.
It's a very good moment for Casca because she kills him and calls him pathetic, and it's great. Meanwhile, that's going on. Guts is fighting the big scary man, and they kind of try to do it as this. Oh, this is a really tough enemy for Guts. He's really skilled and really strong. In terms of villains, though, he is so unmemorable to me. Compared to everyone else, he's just kind of another villain of the week, just a dude with a big sword. But Guts even says. Go ahead.
I just remember his boss battle in the video game being very annoying.
But the only significant thing about him really is that Guts himself even says no, I've had worse than this. He literally thinks back on Zod, and speak of the fucking devil, as the guy breaks Guts' sword, Zod steps in and throws his big ass sword to him, gives him a free sword. Almost
this is sort of where Zod starts to really become interesting, because it's sort of similar to what we talked about earlier with Griffith and how he threw the sword to Casca.
Yeah, I can see that.
But in a strange way, Zod's is more warm, because he literally he loves combat. There's no ulterior motive to him. He's not a schemer. He just loves to fight.
Yeah.
And so, since he was impressed with Guts, more than any human in, I forget how many years, 500 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long they said. They just said he just will die in battle and then he'll show up again.
Yeah, he's immortal in a sense.
I think...
But because he saw so much potential in Guts that he does not want it to be squandered immediately, which I love.
It was almost like a thank you for the fight.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the interesting thing. Zod is only loyal to one thing, and that is fighting like having a good fight with a good challenge. Which is why,
Absolutely.
I mean, I can't spoil again because I don't want to spoil people who haven't gotten that far. But it's why even now I think he's gonna stay true to that. But either way, they have a victory. They have a little party. Everyone, like, Casca's embarrassed that she's got fangirls, which is really adorable. There's this big parade, and Corcus is like flexing and like he's like, "Yeah!" Another really good slice of life moment. Yeah. Chad. He's a Chad.
Chad Corcus.
This is kind of the moment where the Band of the Hawk basically become popular. They get huge. And they have a little party, and everybody, like, at first it's just Griffith getting all the bitches, but then Corcus is literally says, like, save some for the rest of us. But then they start flocking to Corcus and Rickard and all the others. And like,
yeah, it's pretty great. Scenes like this remind me of how Mira talked about how Berserk is very influenced by shoujo manga. It's a very shoujo scene.
It is. I think what's kind of funny is he said that the Band of the Hawk were inspired by his friends, which...
Yeah, that makes sense.
What do you mean by that, Mira? What do you mean by that? Like...
A bunch of eccentric people that probably have killed before and will continue to do it.
Yeah, until they all just die horribly.
Well, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. It's just, I just think it's funny. It's like, I wrote you guys into my story. You all die horribly, though. So, yeah.
Hey, that's life.
But this party scene, it's really cute. Guts, obviously being Guts. I mean, there's some women that are coming on to him, so he like steps out because he doesn't do well at parties. He's like me. He fucking sits in the corner. So he goes outside to get some air, and Casca finds him because these guys are harassing her and making her uncomfortable. So he's like the first guy she goes to feel safe, and she like grabs him. They go outside, and again, it's like another really cute scene where, I mean, he's like impressed that she's wearing a dress and she looks so good. And she's like, no, I just prefer to wear men's clothing. It's more comfortable.
Fair enough on that one.
Yeah. There's like a part where Guts is about to say something to her, but he stops himself. And I'm wondering what it is. Because I don't think it had anything to do with... I mean, Griffith knows that there's going to be an assassination attempt. Because, I mean, there's been constant assassination attempts towards Griffith leading up to this point. And Guts knows about it, too, because Griffith needs him to help him stop it. But I don't think Guts was going to tell her about that. I feel like he was going to say something, but I also don't think it was a confession of feelings or anything, because I don't think he knew he felt that way yet.
Yeah, or if he did, he was not willing to open up at that point, I don't think.
I think he was going to say something sentimental, but I think he just decided to wait.
I imagine he maybe would have talked about his past with Gambino or something like that. Something really important to who he is.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that it leaves it up to interpretation. We don't really know what he was going to say. He just doesn't say it.
Yeah, it's not a major thing, but it's nice.
It's more subtle writing. That's what Berserk excels at. Griffith fakes his death. He pretends to drink poison, or he doesn't drink much at all, and then passes out. And I forget the name of the bald guy. I called him Humpty Dumpty in my notes. The short bald dude.
Yeah, I remember who you're talking about. I just remember his voice in the English dub of the anime being really funny. Where he's like,
I'm scared of this man. I am terrified.
There's no evidence against me.
Yeah, we hear
him laughing a lot.
We hear his musings a lot because he overthinks a lot. Basically,
yeah, I just found his musings very, very, very entertaining.
Basically, Guts, or Griffith, he knows they're going to try to poison him, so he pretends to get poisoned so they think he's dead. Then when he sneaks out, and when they're all gathered, he has the bald guy gather up all of the people who want him dead. During the parade, the bald guy got like a message. And the message, I believe, was a threat, basically. It's like, we have your kid, and you have to do what we say, or we will kill them. Which shows you a little... The Griffith is a little fucked up.
Yeah, this is one of the first times where you see how heinous Griffith can be.
Well, yeah, like before, how he didn't really care that the little kid got killed by Guts, and now it's like he's willing to threaten a man's family. It seems like if a child is of noble birth or anything, like, he does not seem to respect them, or care.
Yeah, maybe that's a subconscious thing.
But he threatens this man's family. So he has him get all of the people who want him dead, all the people scheming against him, including the fucking queen. And so that when they're all together, the place will be lit on fire and they will all die. And the man, it's like an interesting kind of terrifying moment, because the man, after he does all this, he's like thinking like, why did I do all this? This is an insane thing to do. But it's literally, he realizes it's because I'm scared of this man. This man terrifies me so much, I would help him assassinate the queen.
Yeah, it's sort of an early indicator of Griffith's Luciferian aura surrounding him.
Yeah.
He's just able to bend people to his will with words alone at times.
And while we're talking about Guts aura farming, he rolls up with this Bloodborne looking fit. It's like one of my favorite outfits that Guts wears, and he only wears it once. We only see him that way one time, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah.
But yes, Guts, we see the fit. We see you.
You do indeed. He's always looking awesome.
He's a badass.
Like, Guts is one of my favorite character designs in general.
It's kind of a generic pick, but he is my favorite Berserk character. Like, which I think that is kind of the mark of a strong story, when like the best character is the main character.
I would agree, though my favorite character is Griffith, but I understand really anyone. I understand anyone in Berserk being their favorite character. And no, I'm not a Griffith did nothing wrong individual.
Yeah, if this were the Berserk shitposting arc group, somebody would say, oh, what if Donovan's my favorite character? But Donovan jokes are unfunny, so...
Yeah, they're not very funny.
It's literally like Berserk fans equivalent to when Full Metal fans wouldn't stop talking about the dog.
Yeah, it's
like, we get it.
Or when Hunter x Hunter fans talk about bungee gum. That's something that I at least appreciate about JoJo. At least they have millions of scenes that can be memed.
Yeah, the dog getting burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
JoJo got pretty dark
That's
too.
just part one.
But, so this whole thing, I mean, Guts just kind of, it's really cool. Like, Guts brings Griffith to the rest of the Band of the Hawk. They all thought he was dead, and he's just sitting there like, hey guys, just rolling up like it was no big deal. It felt like it was like one last big break for Guts. Like, he's like, I'm gonna do this last thing for you as like a good send-off.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, only Casca knows he's leaving. He didn't really tell anybody he was leaving. He was like, fuck a 2 weeks notice. You should have noticed 2 weeks ago I was about to leave.
Right.
And this, of course, leads to him deciding to depart. And Casca is upset that he's just going without saying goodbye. So she quickly goes and tells the others. Before he does leave, he has a conversation with Judo, who has been his best friend through this whole thing, and Corcus, who's been his biggest hater through this whole thing. And they both offer kind of differing perspectives on Guts. And I think it's interesting. Like, Corcus hates Guts because he feels like Guts is taking all of this for granted. Because Guts is like the type, he's taking it one day at a time, living his life. Whereas Corcus he's been living better with these victories and their reputation. Like, this is everything they dreamed of. And so for Guts to not really want that, he's like, how? Like, what is wrong with you? Sort of how Corcus sees him.
Yeah, that's something I really like about Corcus, is that he isn't even really wrong when he says that.
Well, that's why Guts never really argues with him.
Yeah, it shows a lack of understanding of Guts' feelings, definitely, but it also isn't entirely wrong in the sense of the world of Berserk as a hellhole, and willingly casting that aside is not really a smart decision.
Yeah. But it's like with Guts, he realized that he didn't have Griffith's respect, because up until now he only ever saw Griffith as a friend. He only treated him like a bro. You know, Griffith is out there talking to politicians. He's gonna go talk to his friend. He pushes guards aside. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And the others don't, they all have a reverence for Griffith that Guts does not. And so now he's like, well, shit, you know, if I've just been chasing Griffith's dream, maybe I should find a dream of my own. Kind of make my own path.
Yeah, so he can be an equal.
Judo supports this decision. Because for Judo, it's like, he's only ever followed Griffith. And he's content with that, but it's like, he gets it. Like, he's like, you know, you want your own agency, you want to be an equal to Griffith. I could never imagine being an equal to Griffith, but I think Judo also does kind of see Guts as like, yeah, like, you're pretty cool. Like, you're definitely up there, for sure.
He definitely sees Guts as, you know, if Casca is going to be with somebody that isn't him, Guts is like the ideal pick.
Yeah. And so as they leave, it's like Casca and the rest of the Band of the Hawk, including Griffith, confront Guts, and literally, like, you see Casca, she's like she's baffled by it, but she's finding herself like not wanting him to leave. Even though she wanted him gone for so long, she's like, no, I just want him to stay because it would be beneficial to the Hawks. Like, she's kind of coping.
Yeah.
But she's getting kind of emotional at the thought of him leaving, and she's like, well, Griffith will beat him. Griffith will beat him, and everything will be okay. And so Griffith...
Well, you only ever appreciate what you have until it's gone.
Yeah. And so Griffith, you kind of see he's getting possessive here. Because he's like, he's reacting very strangely. He's like, oh, if I can't have him, then no one can. I should kill him. Almost.
Yeah.
And it's just odd, because it's like Griffith talks about, oh, for me to see someone as my friend, I must see them as my equal. Of course, the closest thing to a friend he had was Guts. But he clearly doesn't see him as his equal. He sees him as, he's like, I need you. Like, you are mine. I claimed you. You belong to me. Where it's almost like an objectifying sort of thing.
Yeah. Almost like he's a pet.
Yeah. And so it's like a tragic element of Griffith's character where I don't think he can form genuine connection because he's so hyper-focused on what he wants. It's like every time
he's warped by his own mentality.
Every time he has sex, for example, any sort of thing like that, whether it's consensual or not, it always feels like it's not for his own gratification, but for a different purpose, whether it's being petty or to feel like he has control over something.
Or resources.
Yeah. Or money.
Yeah.
But I think what's so crushing about this scene is that Griffith, he's like, okay, I'll stop him. But what he finds out is that actually, like, Guts is better than me. Because Guts and him barely fight. He makes one swing, breaks his sword, and then he falls to his knees and it's over. And so
Yeah.
this crushes Griffith's pride because he's so used to being on top. He's so used to being the one that everyone like puts in high esteem. And now this man has proven he's independent of him, and he beat him, made him look like a joke, and broke his sword. And so it's a very crushing moment because not only did he lose guts, he feels like he's no longer even like, am I even fit to be leader anymore? Like, I just got destroyed.
Well, what's so fascinating about this scene is that I truly, even knowing what Griffith becomes, I feel like this loss is a permanent stain on his psyche, especially because of the further revelations with what we figure out about causality and, how some people can sort of break away from lacking free will. Griffith, in many ways, had no free will.
Yeah, that is true. I think he's kind of a slave to his own dream, which they imply that rather heavily in one of the newer chapters, actually. One of the last chapters that Mira worked on before he died. They imply that he is a slave to his own dream. I kind of consider it's a weird comparison. Griffith is like the anti-Eren Yeager, where it's like he's kind of the opposite, where it's like Eren is like my people above everything else. Griffith is everything else above my people.
He's sort of ties into one of the ideas that I think Berserk talks about, which is that any Messiah figure can also be seen as an Antichrist figure to somebody else.
Which, yeah, I mean, what's interesting too is, and this is something I'll talk about in the next podcast, but they all big figures in this series are kind of fucked up in some way. Mosgus, the king of Midland. I'm trying to think of a few others, but you get the idea. They even talk about Ganishka. They even talk about King Geyserik being a little bit fucked up back in the day. But basically, as we all know, Griffith starts acting irrationally. He's so crushed by this that he decides to go and have sex with the princess, which, of course, I mean, a relationship with her was part of his plan, but he's kind of rushing it now, almost as like he feels he needs control over something. He feels like, oh, I just need to get closer to my goal. He needs comfort. There's a lot of different reasons for why he did it, but he's not thinking rationally. And as expected, I mean, it leads to the meme of it's like, yes, babe, come back to bed. But it's like funny. I always make fun of the scene because it's like he's having sex with a woman and he is thinking about a man the whole time.
Yeah, that's the story of Berserk in a nutshell.
But either way, he gets caught, and because one of the servant ladies saw him through the keyhole, and he gets arrested. And so that sort of concludes this little section right here. But
this is sort of the first point in the series where I started to view Griffith from a particularly villainous angle.
Yeah.
Because I think it's definitely implied from the way he's framed, like coming in through the window, that if Charlotte wasn't attracted to him, that he would have forced himself on her, whether she wanted it or not.
Yes, and the reason is purely because of what she can get for him.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, we don't even need that because we know what he does later.
Yeah, but again, it ties into Griffith viewing people as tools, in a way.
Yeah. He doesn't love Charlotte. He only loves her status. He doesn't love Guts.
Yeah.
He only loves his strength. And so that's kind of like a consistent problem and almost tragic element to his character. I honestly think Griffith is a psychopath. Like, I don't think
so?
I think all of his empathy is purely logical. It's always like,
I
or
think
it's like a selfish form of logic of like, what can you do for me?
he understands the concept of empathy, but he has none of it himself.
Yeah.
And a reminder that Charlotte, by this point, I think is like 14. So
yeah, that
that
too.
that
It's
adds
medieval
another
times. It's medieval times.
yeah.
He was like what?
Yeah, but it's sort of
He was like what?
it's sort of
21?
also yeah, it's sort of also parallels what Mr. Pedo Man did with Griffith, and sort of like repeating that cycle of trauma.
because Griffith was a minor when he did that, wasn't he?
I believe so, wasn't he? Or like at least a late teenager.
I think he was like 17.
Yeah, like around that point.
And like Costco.
But it's sort of like, yeah, it's sort of repeating past heinous actions.
Victim turns into perpetrator type thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable scene. Not as uncomfortable as the scenes to come, but definitely I feel so bad for Charlotte. I really do. She gets dealt a shit hand.
Absolutely.
Well, any closing thoughts before I end this?
Other than that, I basically am noticing a trend of people taking the most uncomfortable Berserk scenes and turning them into memes.
Well, yeah, I do think...
And I think that's indicative of a wide, I don't know, I guess, inability to tap into how scenes make people feel, at least compared to you and I. Like, they don't really reflect on a scene like that and all of the layers behind it and why it makes them so uncomfortable. They just try to boil it down into a funny haha meme.
I slightly disagree, and the only reason is, I think part of it is just trying to make, like, the best out of something dark and uncomfortable. But I do kind of see where you're coming from. Like, I definitely do think, like, with Donovan in particular, like, it's obviously they're just being edgy, and like, there's no depth to the jokes about Donovan. It's just ha ha. Guts really liked it. Guts wanted it, and it's like, it's really not.
Yeah,
funny.
it's not even funny or clever, edgy humor. It's just really lowbrow, low-hanging fruit.
Like, I think what bugs me about the Berserk fandom in particular, and I don't want to complain about them too much because everybody always discounts the Berserk fandom. I kind of disown these fucking people because I don't see them. A lot of them probably never even read Berserk. They only know about the big events. But
I discount basically all fandoms in general.
I'm sure you've seen like that Casca cosplayer, and somebody responded with "Allow me to introduce myself," and it's a picture of Femto.
Yeah.
Like, I think what makes me upset about that is that, to be honest, you could have just posted Guts, and it would have been like a cute, like, nice response. But you went the edgy route, and then like bragged about getting blocked by her when she thinks you're weird.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's a certain kind of person that goes to dark storytelling not to get anything of value out of it, like I would, but goes into it trying to make fun of it.
Yeah, I mean,
in a way,
it's the same for like fans of. I don't really like The Boys anymore, but fans of The Boys, as an example,
yeah,
they do the same shit. So it's just like, it's boring, I feel, and it also makes, I just don't like that all Berserk fans get blamed for it. I hate that I hate that I have to put a disclaimer when I say, "Oh, I really love Berserk," because I don't want that to be a red flag.
Yeah, it's really annoying because this is all stuff that Berserk obviously heavily critiques and paints in a very heinous and disgusting way.
Yeah.
So to see quote unquote fans try and emulate that sort of behavior is really kind of disturbing to me.
Yeah,
As somebody that
it's like you're missing the
valued,
whole point. It's talking about you, dude. Like,
yeah, it shows how people can go through an entire story and not even understand a single fucking thing about what it was trying to say,
yeah. Well,
which is kind of disheartening to me. But
yeah.
sorry to end it on a cynical note, but hey, it's Berserk. It needs that.
It was nice having you on. I might have you on another one in the future. Who knows? Uh,
Yeah, feel free. I'm always open to this sort of thing. I've got a YouTube channel. I've got stuff that I'm working on right now.
yeah, I'm gonna
Uh,
link that in the description.
I don't know if you watch that guy on YouTube, The Vile Eye.
I do. I
Uh,
absolutely love him.
yeah, I have worked on a couple of scripts for some of his videos, proofreading those. I'm a very active member in his community. Uh, so that's sort of what I'm doing when I'm not working on my own stuff.
Oh, that's
But
that's
I
pretty
would
cool.
always, yeah, I would always love to come back for more Berserk talk or even something else that I'm a big fan of.
Well, I'll let you know in the future. Right now, I'm kind of spread thin because I'm working on an Apothecary Diaries video. But
Oh, cool.
I am always coming back to Berserk. I fucking love talking about Berserk. It's my favorite piece of fiction ever.
Yeah, it's always awesome.
I literally have a brand tattoo. I'm looking up above my computer to see a Berserk portrait of Guts. I got like figurines. I don't know. I have a problem.
Yeah, if I get like I don't know, if I get a tattoo, one of them will probably be a brand.